I'm Cory Oliver. Thanks for watching the Coriolis Effect. Please hit the subscribe button below, and we hope you like this episode.
Today's episode is brought to you by Aqua 9 Plus all-natural ionic mineral alkaline drinking water. Aqua 9 Plus is one of the first and only all-natural ionic mineral bottled drinking waters in the world. It has one of the highest and most stable pH of any bottled water on the market, with a pH ranging from 9.5 to 10. And I gotta tell you, besides tasting great, high alkaline water has so many positive health benefits. It increases your endurance, it deactivates pepsin in the body, which helps reduce the occurrences of upset stomachs. It neutralizes pesticides and fungicides on produce. It increases oxygen delivery throughout the body, and it helps reduce heartburn and indigestion. When you consider that coffee can have a pH as low as 2, which is very acidic, that pH can be neutralized by using high pH water. And a medical study has suggested that alkaline ionized water may have benefits for people with high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol. You can go to aqua9plus.com. That's AQUANINEPLUS.com to find the nearest store that sells Aqua 9 Plus all-natural ionic mineral alkaline drinking water. They also sell a home water system which produces purified ionic mineral 9.5 plus pH drinking water naturally directly in your home without the use of electricity.
And you
Wow,
can also
that's cool.
Yeah, and you can also find filling stations at local grocery stores. If you go to their website, aqua9plus.com, they'll tell you where the nearest filling station is near you. So you go there with a 5-gallon jug or a 2-gallon jug, pay your money, and it fills it up, and it lasts for a couple of weeks.
There's actually one at Air One. There's all the Air Ones. It's a great water. It's really great water. It actually tastes great. We are grateful to have them on the show and supporting us.
Yes.
But I also love their water.
No, their water tastes great.
Hi guys, it's Cory Oliver with the Coriolis Effect, and today I want to talk a little bit about one of our sponsors, flightsport.com. We feel blessed enough to have this company as one of our sponsors. They're a great company. They're faith-based. It's flightsport.com. They have many supplements. They have t-shirts. They have clothing. But these are some of my favorite products that I've been using for almost a year. I started using them during COVID, and I'm taking them still. This is the Super Greens, which is yummy. Bob, it's yummy.
Try it right now.
I'm going to take it right now.
Okay.
You take literally a capful, and it tastes great, and you're getting your daily supplement of greens, and it's so good. Your body craves it, oddly enough. Yes. Like I drink mine after my meal in the morning, and I feel so good. Wow, you're just getting a ton of stuff. All your reds. Beetroot juice, blueberry extract, papaya, fruit jack, organic raspberry leaf. Raspberry is very good for you.
As are
all of the other things.
Ingredients.
Sour cherry fruit, which is kind of tastes like that. Cranberry, it's good for your kidneys. Cranberry fruit juice. Elderberry, that's excellent for your immune system. Pomegranate. It's just filled. It's packed with a punch, a reds punch. So I can't say enough about this. This will give you a little bit of energy, and you're getting your reds in it. I highly recommend flightsport.com. All in one swoop. I mean, that was took me less than a minute to get all the good stuff.
And that's once a day?
And once a day, yeah. And they've got a lot of different products, so I encourage you to just visit their site and check them out. And they're wonderful people.
And how would they find them?
They're at flightsport.com. I'm tongue-tied, so flightsport.com. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Cory. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm going to make you cry.
No, I can't.
Today...
No.
Today is Irina's and my 4th anniversary.
Oh.
Told you.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Why, thank you.
Oh.
I made sure she didn't tell you when you came in today so that I could surprise you.
That's so wonderful. What a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And, okay, here's my story for today. So, we're filming this on March 11th. March 8th was International Women's Day. Something I have never heard of before.
Yes.
And all I remember is last year, I got up in the morning on March 8th. I get up before my wife. I came to her. She was still sleeping. I said, good morning. She wasn't talking to me. Why? Because I didn't do anything for International Women's Day, which literally until that minute, I had no idea what that was.
By the way, I hadn't either, so I'm sorry.
So I ran out. I got her flowers on that day. So this time, I was up north, and I arranged to have flowers delivered on March 8th from a place that I'm not going to say the place because it's not a very good story.
Yeah, we don't want to
Let me just say it rhymes with From You Schmowers. I ordered it. I had a card, everything, and the 8th comes and goes, and the flowers aren't there. And I'm waiting for Irina to call me and say, I got the flowers. Nothing. I call up the next day, still nothing. So I call the From You Schmowers, and they say, oh, by the way, they had on their website that it was delivered on the 8th, and it wasn't. So I called them up, and they said, well, they deal with florists all over the place, and they won't tell me the name of the florist, and that's fine. They said, the florist got busy, and they didn't get a chance to do it. I'm like, well, but we can do it today. I'm like, well, that's like giving Valentine's Day on the 15th.
Yeah.
Right. So they said, okay, so what we'll do is...
Wait, every day should be International Women's Day, so just saying.
Every day but one. So they said, okay, the florist said they'll deliver it today, and they'll put a card in there that says, we're sorry you're supposed to deliver this yesterday. It'll be there by noon. Noon comes, nothing. 3 o'clock comes, nothing. So I call From You Schmowers again, and they say, they didn't get around to it. They'll be doing it soon. They finally delivered around 5, 6 o'clock. No card that says, we're sorry you're supposed to deliver this yesterday. And you go convince my wife that I remembered, but the flower company screwed up. So I am livid with those people.
You and Irina crack me up. You really do. You're so, so cute. And, listen, I haven't had the opportunity to be married for 4 years almost. But pretty much, I guess it's, yes, dear, right?
You're
shaking your head. You're going,
pretty much. Well, I'm very good at reading Irina, and I know when I should stop and when I don't have to stop.
Just don't even start.
I think you and people who've been listening to this podcast understand that my philosophy is I nudge people as much as I possibly can to get a reaction.
You do, and that's one of the things I love about you. And people are constantly saying, what does Bob say? Why would he? And you know what? They don't understand that you're one of the kindest and most compassionate people, but you do have a funny sense of humor, and I love that.
My life is spent trying to get my mother upset just to get a reaction out of her. Because my mom is very
and now it's spent trying
very
to get
classy, just if I can get that reaction, that's my goal in life.
And he really is a good guy.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That's where you put the little twang. Anyway, I'm very excited about today's guest.
But hold on, let's talk about that, because I will put the twing, but you can't say that's where you put the twing, because that messes it up. Because you haven't
put the twing.
Well, you haven't twinged. You weren't twing worthy yet. Okay, now I will. When you say this is where you play the romantic music, no, you just play the romantic music.
But have you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay. So anyway, who's our guest today? Sorry.
Our guest today is a dear friend of mine. But she's an actress, a writer, an author of a book called Conversations Between a Girl and Her God. She is one of the nicest, most loveliest people you'll ever meet, and she gave it all up years ago for God. Nice. And I love her story. She has a great testimony, and I'm just really excited to see her today. Teri Copley is in the house. Yes. Okay. Literally in the house, because this is your daughter's room.
live from Sammy's room, as we call it.
Sorry, was that the joke? No. Okay, and actually I really wanted to just touch on something really quickly, because last time I was here, I had told you that about my, my AirPod in the toilet story, and listen, I'm down to one. I don't know. How do people, if any of you there have an idea of how to keep track on these little guys other than find my AirPods, I would love your input. So please contact Bob Victor at...
Well, it's actually, the email address is below you, but it's Cory at @gmail.com.
Yes. Oh, someone's calling me. I actually had a phone call. Hang on. I know it's just, it's not Jack Wagner. Jack. Anyway, really excited about today's show. So Teri Copley will be in the house today.
Well, great. By the way, for the iPods, they don't have, do they have Find Me, an app?
Yeah, like they have Find My AirPod.
So that has a signal that can be sent out.
It'll ping.
Oh.
Yes, but I have no idea how to use it. And I'm not sure if it will ping if your dog actually ate it, if it'll kind of go off in the tummy. Although we've established that it will work if it drops in your pee.
You'll get it eventually.
Yeah, I will. That's true.
All right, looking forward to it. Okay, let's start the show.
Thank you, Bob.
Great.
Yes. Well, today I don't even know where to start. I know. She's looking across at me, and I'm looking at her, and I have a very dear friend of I don't even know how many years. We just go way, way back, and I'm so grateful to have her in the studio today. She is one of Hollywood's sweethearts, original sweethearts. She's tearing up. She's on the cover of TV Guide, Johnny Carson, Oprah Winfrey. The star of We Got It Made, Teri Copley.
Yes, I'm very Was that another life ago?
It's not actually. I always start with those things, but you wrote one of my favorite books, Conversations with a Girl and Her God, and I was raised in a Christian home and didn't understand God until I went through the trials. We've talked about this before, but people tend to not really understand that you can communicate. You can ask God. You can slam your fist down and say, God, why?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I love your book because you do a lot of that and you ask him questions and you recorded his answers.
I did.
Tell us a little
But
bit.
first,
Oh, no.
you always forget.
I do forget.
It was your idea.
I have to do this word of the day. And
You say it like that. It was your idea to
I
do
don't
this.
want to do it. Okay, he has
Okay.
this word for you and I.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's a
I love
phobia.
you, Teri.
All our words are phobias.
Okay.
Catoptrophobia.
Catoptrophobia.
Tatra.
Katop?
Catoptro phobia. It is
Catoptrophobia.
catoptrophobia. Neither one of you have this.
Yeah. If it's a phobia, I don't have it.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I
definitely
don't
don't have this one.
I don't
What is
want
it?
one.
It's the fear of mirrors.
The fear of mirrors. That's weird.
That's very sad.
That's so
I know
weird.
some people are afraid of mirrors.
Aww.
We have extremes. Some
Yeah.
people love them and some people are afraid
That's
of
true,
them,
yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose.
Yeah.
I've known people who can't walk by a mirror without.
I don't really spend a lot of time in front of it, though. That's
No,
not...
you don't have a fear of them.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, there's people have fears of all over the place, so it's just really.
Although I
you
did
know-
watch you make a lip into the camera a few times.
I try to do that right next to the lips because those are my lips. But I was talking about Teri Copley's book, which I've read several times, and you can get something new each time you read it too.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
I wrote that so long ago. I think it was right about when I was first just gave my life to the Lord. It had to be in the first 2 years of it.
Which
Yeah.
you gave up this Hollywood career. I mean, you were just on a roll in the industry and at the top.
Yeah, I was
And-
asked actually to play Marilyn Monroe's life story for HBO.
Wow.
And, I was doing a movie. And when I was on that movie, I was sleeping. And one morning, I felt a physical tapping on my finger. And I heard a voice say to me, "Isn't the sun beautiful?" Excuse me. And I responded, "Yes, the sun is beautiful." And then suddenly, I started hearing the voice of Father, the Lord. And he said, "Go home, get your Bible, go to church." And he started telling me, "You're going to be offered something I don't want you to do." For about a month, I kept little journals. So when I would go in and pray like a child, I didn't know how to pray. So I'd just go in and worship like they did at church and worship, and then put my hands out, waiting to feel him touch me and just talk to him and wait to hear him talk to me. And I would journal everything. And so that's how I wrote the book, just so innocently.
Is it fair to say you didn't really understand or have that relationship? It's
Yeah.
different. Religion is different than a relationship.
Yeah, thankfully. But, I would think in a way it would be harder. But thankfully for me, I suppose the journey that Father brought me here to take, I didn't come from a family that went to church. They were heathens. I mean, they weren't bad people. My mom was a beautiful, moral woman, but she
I met
didn't.
her. She is wonderful. Was wonderful.
But she never went to church or anything like that. They were Italian Catholics that never went to church. And so, but me, here I come, I'm born into this family. And since I can remember, I was sensitive spiritually and had a love for a God. I had no idea who he was. And I could feel him, and I would tell my mom, I feel something. I can feel something, Mom. And she, thought I was kooky. I mean, literally as a little girl, I laugh about this now, but as a little girl, my mom would bring me to a friend's house or somebody's house, and I would start to walk in, and then I would step outside. And my mom would say, "What's wrong with you?" And I'd say, "I'm not going in there, Mom." And she'd say, "Why?" And I'd say, "Because somebody died in there, and I'm not going in there."
Wow.
I could feel like just sensitive, spiritually sensitive, not understanding a thing. And so I had a love for this God that I'd never been introduced to, not through religion. So thankfully, I never had to really get religion out of me.
Right.
I was introduced to a relationship God, just as a child, like going, what's that?
Mm-hmm. Well, to your point, the Bible says it's not a battle of flesh and blood. It's a battle of principalities. It's a spiritual battle. So even at a young age, you were feeling a sense of danger, or, so God was kind of guiding you even in those moments that you might not have been so sure, or your mom might not have been so sure what it was, but you knew. I call it that check in your spirit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It guides you.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we go against it. I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
I go against it. I still try to wait and navigate my way through it, right?
Yeah.
Gingerly.
Are you sure? Maybe it's because of this. No, I think I can do it.
Yeah. And God's like, no, listen to me, right? So when you were young, at what age did you realize you wanted to pursue acting and modeling?
Again, it was just something as a child that I was always like, I want to be a movie star. Every Halloween, I was a movie star. And I don't know, I just used to, make, like in school, I would make little skits. I would make skit for the neighborhood and invite all the parents to come see the little skits that I was doing. And then I just sort of fell into it, Cory. It was like my mom was working, they were making a movie, and as I was picking her up from work, someone said to me, hey, you want to be in our movie? And I was like, okay. It was Hometown USA with Max Baer and, these people. And I was an extra, but I was they kind of made me a favorite extra, so to speak. And then when I got older, I started realizing 18, 19, this is something I maybe could do. And I just sort of pursued it a little bit. I found out somebody was making a movie. And so I
love these stories.
I had my mom call that producer and say she was an old friend from high school. And he got on the phone. And when he did, I grabbed the phone from my mom and said, I know you're making a movie. Please, can I come and audition? And he was like, sweetie, we don't do things like that. And I started crying, please. He said, if you could be here by 6 o'clock, I'll see you. Well, I got there a little late because, I could barely drive. I lived in Covina, California. I had to drive all the way to Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard. And I got there late, and he looked at me and he said, I'm looking for an 18-year-old that looks 16. You're 16 or whatever, and you look like you're 20-something. And I was like, because I wore makeup, it's from Covina.
Yeah.
And anyway, right. And so, but it was the Blue Lagoon with Brooke Shields.
No way.
Of course they weren't going to hire me. What was I thinking? But I left there crying. And as I left there, I would push the elevator button, and a man is coming out of his office, and it's the Meyer Michigan agency, which at that time was a huge agency. And thankfully, Meyer Michigan was one of the last Hollywood agents from the studio days.
Wow.
So his love was to get an unknown and make her a star.
Talk about the right place at the right time. Just coming out of the elevator.
And then in order for him to see, did I have the ability to hold myself, like in front of producers, he tells me to come to his office with Lee Marvin in the room. Well,
no pressure.
Hello. No pressure. I don't know who the man is.
I love you. Teri, you
no clue who Lee Marvin was at that time. No clue.
Yeah.
I knew who Clark Gable was. I loved Clark Gable, but Lee Marvin, why would I know Lee Marvin? My mom didn't like Lee Marvin.
Well, he was an action hero back then.
Yeah. Who would know? So I sat in the room with him alone. I was like, you're awfully tall. He's like, yes. I'm tall. I was like, just carried conversation with them. And then Meyer came in, a short little man. So you have this tall man and this short agent, and said, okay, go wait in the room. I guess asked Lee, and Lee said, yeah, she's great. And they sent me on my first audition with, what was her name? She was a big casting director, Meryl O'Laughlin. And went and saw her. She gave me my first part. This one agent gave me 4 parts in a row. To the 4th role she gave me was co-starring with Rock Hudson on a 4-hour miniseries.
Wow.
So you have one person.
What was the miniseries?
Star Maker.
Oh, okay.
With Melanie Griffith. She did the first 2 hours. They literally, NBC Network, Joe Thurm was head of the network then. He literally, I went from going in the interview, auditioning with a tiny part at the very end of the movie. And then after I auditioned before, and then they were like, oh, okay, thank you. That was very nice. And I said, but I'd like to be Angel Baker. And they were like,
Ask and you shall receive, right?
Baker, was the star of the show, the second 2 hours.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, okay, well, all right. They talked amongst themselves for a second, and they said, tell you what, go out there, get the sides, and come back. Come back in when you're ready. I was like, okay. So I did that. And I went back in. I mean, they went through hoops to get me that role. Because when I went to NBC Network and met with Joe Thurm was like, no way. She looks too old. She looks too, they
always have something to say.
So they did my hair and makeup. They did a day. They did my hair. The producer did my hair and makeup. They had people come in, get me ready, then took me back to Joe. By the time I left there that day, Joe Thurm said to me, honey, what part do you want to play in this movie?
I love it.
And I was like, I could have been anybody.
The lead.
I was like, I want to be Angel Baker. I was like, my heart was set on being Angel.
I love it. That's a great story. I actually had no idea that you tried out for Blue Lagoon. But to that point, and I say this all the time, you don't know what God has for you. And, sometimes you just have to show up and he'll show off, right?
Wait,
he'll just be like...
Wasn't Brooke Shields underage when she did that movie?
Yes.
I think she was 16, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was the big hype about it. Right?
Yes.
But she was Brooke Shields.
But she was Brooke Shields, but you're Terry Copley, so...
No, I'm nobody.
No, yes, you are. In my eyes and in God's eyes, you are. And that's what I love about you
in the public's
so much.
eyes, you still have a
Oh, my
following.
God. Okay, I'm going to tell this story because this actually happened. I was telling Bob about this. I was like, this is what happened. Terry and I have gone to many events together. We always have a good time. And I think my show and my movie had been out at the same time, and there was all this buzz, and I had a billboard on the, on Sunset Boulevard, finally, after 26 years, right? And Terry and I go into, what was it? I don't even remember what event it was. And we come out, and literally the street is lined with paparazzis with photos of Terry saying, can you sign my photo? Can you sign my photo? Can you sign my photo? Really, that happened. They love you. Because you really were.
Paparazzi always did love me. I loved them, though.
You do love them.
That
and
was
gracious.
the difference between today and back then. Because we were grateful for the paparazzi. If it weren't for the paparazzi, no, you're like, hello.
Yeah, there wasn't any social media. That was your only way to get to the public, right?
And your picture got in the paper. I mean, they were kind. They were your friend. They didn't have to be there waiting for you. That was my feeling. But today it's different, but they did love me. The paparazzi were very good to me.
They still do, Terry. They still do. I was like, oh my gosh. And they're really pulling at her and saying, can you sign this photo? And they had like these photos of you. They were just beautiful. It was it was a really nice moment to see. Okay, so you were, you've obviously spent your time in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And on a movie, you got a little tap. And God said, hey.
Yes,
Come this way. Follow me.
One morning, waking up while I was doing a movie, I was waking up one morning and I felt a physical tap on my finger. And this voice inside of me that seemed like it was outside said, isn't the sun beautiful? And the sun was just piercing through the window. And I just turned my head and I was like, yes, the sun is beautiful. And then I went, whoa. Now I was fully awake. And I thought, oh my goodness, what was that? So I got on my knees and I said, Lord, you've given me this life. I've made a mess of it because by that time I'd been married and divorced. And, even though I had success in the world, I always felt alone. And I had a mom and I had friends and I had people that loved me, but I felt alone. And I always had a feeling like I was, Snow White in the wilderness. And it was like, which way to go? Do I go left? Do I go right? Which way to go? Which way to go? It was always my little voice inside. Which way do I go? Do I go this way? Do I go that way? Where's everybody going? Are they going the right way?
Mm-hmm.
And so I finally heard this life and I said, you've given me this life. I've made a mess of it. Please just let me know you. I just want to know you. And then I went to work and I was walking down the sidewalk and I remember feeling this presence of great love come upon me that I'd never felt that before. And that same voice said to me, all of your dreams will come true. Well, I was like, yes, but then my second thought was, what are my dreams? What are my dreams?
Mm-hmm.
In reality, what were my real dreams? Was it to be a star? Was it, which I, found out so many years later, only up to today, like my dream is to know my God, to really know him. And anyway, my dreams, thank you. My dreams have and are coming true. Only today they're not necessarily dreams, they're visions, which is similar, dreams and visions. But anyway, yeah, so that's how it all started. I went home, I got my children, that I was raising on my own, and I found a church on the way in Van Nuys, California, right? Which I didn't ever understand a word he was saying. Okay,
I actually went to that church too. I know. Jack Hayford was the
so intelligent.
Yes, very intelligent.
And all my friends were like, "Oh, he's so intelligent," and I get so fed, and I'm like, "Really?" I was like, "Well, I get the last 5 minutes when the music comes on, and he sums it up with a story." Then I know what he basically said. And I wait for that last
5 minutes. That's so cute.
It's okay.
Well, but you were, on the cover of magazines and everybody was wanting you and people were calling you. You weren't even having to audition. You basically went from one show to another to pretty much, this is one of the things I love about you. I love many things about you, but your conviction of just, I want to say cold turkey, stopping the industry cold turkey was so powerful. It overrode your desire to be in the industry. That is, to most people, that people in the industry are like, wait, wow, whoa, I can't believe you do this. But I commend you for following your heart, his voice.
What happened though, Cory, is that, as you know, when you acquire to a certain degree of success, all of a sudden it tries to mold you. It's like what a person can start off being a genuine, like when I did We Got It Made, it was genuine. Mickey McKenzie, that girl, was genuine. It was a part of me that was an innocent, like, it was just like, it's like if I'm with my children and I need to be a disciplinarian, there's a part of me that comes out as a disciplinarian. But if I am with my husband or with somebody there's another side that comes out of me that is genuine, So it was a genuine side of me. But what happens is that over a course of time, that genuine wants to try to become a caricature of the genuine. And it's a pitfall. And what happens is that you start to feel like I suppose, much like a woman does that doesn't feel valued by her husband. You start to feel like you're just an arm piece. You're just a pretty person to look at, and nobody's really going to value what you say. I still battle with that in the church, in the ministry, but that starts to change, like wear on you. So by that time, I was like, I see a future here of me tumbling into great pain. So looking at that, and at the same time, having God start speaking to me, start speaking to the depths of my being, and start filling me with love and safety and hope, and in a safety to be able to be me and be loved for me. I was like, I'm going over here.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard really to see the end of the road over here, which I could see. I had foresight to see that's a dead end. That is going to end in disaster for me. That road is not going to be good. But here was like a savior, a husband, so to speak, to come and say, come here, come away with me, and let me bring you down a new road. And I was like, I'm going.
I love you.
I'm going there.
I love that face.
So I was like, goodbye, city life, Green Acres, here I come.
Right?
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So tell me the first thing. So that was done. What was the first thing you did when you woke up the next day and you had this new life? What was the first thing? Because in my life, when I do things like that, when I lay things down, it seems like new level, new devil, right? The enemy doesn't stop coming after you.
Yeah.
Because you've, decided to follow God, and right? It almost seems like in some ways, and I'm speaking about my life personally, you get hit a little harder too sometimes.
Yeah.
Right?
We always get hit hard. But what happened for me was that I started turning down everything because I felt like a newborn baby, literally an innocent newborn baby that I did not want to get dirty. I was like, oh no, I don't say those words. I mean, Cory, honestly, you know me for how many years? Have you ever heard me say a cuss word?
No.
Never.
No.
My children have never heard me say a cuss word.
No, you are one of the sweetest people I've ever met.
And
honestly.
it's just something that happened. It was like, that's just not who I am anymore.
Yeah.
That's not me. I don't do that. So I went from being a girl that was like, a pinup girl in the 80s to, oh no, that's not who I don't do that. I can't do something where I say I'm sleeping with my boyfriend. I wouldn't sleep with my boyfriend now. I just
You were
transformed
reborn.
into a new person that literally felt like a new person. So I started saying, no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I watched my life go from a Mercedes-Benz and a house and to a 56 pickup truck. I could see the
Which I like
floor.
those, by the way.
Yeah.
I actually, honestly, would probably rather have the 56 than the Mercedes-Benz at this point in my life.
I was like, well, if I have to buy something icky, then let it be at least look cool, look masculine and like, tough. But I could see the floor, And I ended up living on a ranch in Granada Hills in a goat house. What used to be a goat house, they turned into like a house, like a little mobile home type of thing. But I was happy there. I spent hours every day with the Lord. Like I would worship and be with the Lord 4 hours a day and then read the Bible. And, I didn't work. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't acting. I was living I don't even think they charged me 1 penny to be there. Because it was...
Were you married at the time? Or no, okay.
I've been single most of my life. Yeah, that's been a hard road for me.
But you're actually not, though, because Jesus is your husband.
Yeah.
I always say that to people. My husband, he's the only one I'll share.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. The only husband you go, oh.
You can have him too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did he speak to you last night? Were you with him last night? Oh, I was with him too. But anyway, yeah, no, so I was well known with my 2 kids. So it was easier to make those transitions. If I had a husband, he probably would have said, no.
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. No, you're not doing that.
And your desire for that part of your life, you've been in Hollywood, you've had a huge success. What do they say? Only 5% of actors really are working. SAG.
If that.
Yes, right. And here you are. You really did make it to where the average society would say, "Oh, she's made it," right?
Mm-hmm. I had every girl's dream.
Every girl's dream. I mean, it really was. And
now I have every girl's dream.
Right. And so, in that though, your life right now, are you? How do I say this? When you love like God loves you. Mm-hmm. You want to love others. You want to find that love, that mate, that soulmate, if you will, right? Even though we have it with God, right? You have been married, you said earlier, 3 times, and you've loved each one of those husbands. I know them. You knew them. And you had great relationships with them afterwards.
Yeah.
You are so forgiving.
They're like become my brothers.
Yes.
Like brothers, like...
That's one of the things that I love about you, and you've taught me in over my life, is that your forgiveness is insurmountable. And what does the Bible say? We're to forgive 7 times 70, an infinite amount of times, right? And your forgiveness is to beat the band.
Yeah.
How did you come to that forgiveness for anyone listening? Because it's difficult when you go through a divorce or of any kind, right? Whether it's your husband or your wife or a job or whatever it is, it's very difficult.
For me personally, I feel like everybody has the right to be free, to make choices. And I always felt like if a man loved me, then that was beautiful. And I loved them. I mean, if there was that connection between you. But once I realized that a man didn't love me anymore like that, once that got like, okay, he doesn't love me like that. Something's not right. He doesn't love me like that. I let him go. And I don't blame him for not loving me like that. He has the right not to. And so, like, for instance, one of my husbands was a cheater. And I asked him, why do men cheat? And he said, it's like getting a new pair of shoes. And I was like, oh.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Oh, good. Gosh.
I was like, oh, okay. That is a problem for you. I didn't make it my problem. I was like, oh, that's sad. And I remember one time I was buying groceries at a grocery store. And somehow the lady next to me, I said something about, I like flippantly said something like, oh yeah, my husband cheated on me. And she goes, he cheated on you?
I know.
And I was like,
that's what I was thinking.
And I was like, yes. And I said, it's not the woman's fault. It's their issue. And so it's like, once I realized they didn't love me, no matter what the issue was, I was like, okay, you can go. Let's go our separate ways. But I still love you as a friend. How can you not? How can you not?
Well, yeah, it's still very painful. Doesn't mean that the pain doesn't exist, right? But you do. You have to let them go.
I don't love somebody that way that doesn't love me.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, I love because I'm loved. So maybe that's an issue in me.
What you love back?
I love back. When I realize they don't love me, I'm like, oh, okay, you don't love
I
me.
wish I had that gene. I'm like, no, hang on.
Yeah.
Don't go. But you know
Yeah.
what? Now I get it.
Once you realize that, you're like, I don't
Sorry
need to
about
keep
banging.
loving you like that. I can love you as a friend and care about your well-being, be there for you. But
That's good.
mm,
I like that. What is it like being in a relationship with you? Because I know what it's like being in a friendship with you, and it's fun and funny, and you are so sweet and kind, and you're such an amazing listener, and you're an amazing mom, an amazing grandmother, amazing all those things, which I sit here and I'm like, how can she be a grandmother? You look so young,
oh, you're so
Teri.
sweet.
You do. You have not aged in the 20 years I've known you, or however long it's been.
Well, I don't know. I am a lot stronger than I look.
That's a good point. That's actually a really good point.
Mhm. So I think a man, what happens at being really, I'm transparent. I'm just really so transparent. But it's all I know. What happens has been a lot my fault because I have the biggest part of me is, very soft, very easygoing. Oh, we have $10 here. You have the 10, or okay, give me one, or oh, you want to go? Okay, we'll go. But when I see something is wrong, or I get mistreated, I feel mistreated, or I get very strong. It's like the little ox in me comes up and says,
I love it.
oh, wait, you have the wrong girl. It's like, oh, no, no, no. No, 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 no. It's like I tell my granddaughter today, sweetie, I do everything for you. I let you have your friends. You can stay up late when it's not a school night. You can go to bed whenever you want when it's not a school night. Like, I give her so much freedom to be able to make choices independently, even as a 6-year-old. I give her those areas. And I say to her, but I need to trust you. It's all about trust here. So I need to be able to trust you. And if I say 9:30, you turn off your phone, even if I'm in prayer, because that's my prayer time. If I'm in prayer and it's 9:30 and I set the alarm, no matter what your friend says, you turn off the phone, you say goodbye, and you put on your Jesus videos and you climb in bed. And if I can trust you to do that, then you get more freedom. But if I can't trust you, you're going to cross that line of breaking trust, and then you're going to get my other girl. I'm going to have to be strong
My
with
other
you.
girl. You know what, Teri? Right when you're saying this, like I'm getting this revelation. And that's what God says to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like too much is given, much is expected.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And can I trust you?
Can I trust you?
I need you to do,
Yeah.
I need to see that you're going to do the right thing. And so that's the only time where, that's like, those husbands have met with the girl that's like, you will not abuse me. You will not hit me. You will not cheat on me. Oh, you cheated? Oh, that was not a part of it. That was not a part of the trust game. So I have to go now. I don't hate you, but I can't stay for this.
Which is bold and brave, and there's probably people out there listening that, can't. They're in it too far, or, something else is going on. I don't know, but that's a big step.
I have always felt like a soft woman, but I've never felt like a weak woman.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like a ox woman, like a strong woman.
I love that. I love that.
So it's unfortunately, the soft girl attracts the...
I've never seen the ox, though. I've known you all these years, and I've never seen the ox. You're always so sweet and ethereal, and I was telling Bob before the show started, I was like, there should have been like a Disney princess after Teri.
The
Just
ox-
because your sweet, beautiful, ethereal voice and,
The ox girl left acting.
Right.
Mhm.
Right. You're right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's beautiful.
I say that because I've really learned about the living creatures, in heaven. And I call it the inside of God that he put on the outside for us to see his insides out.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the faces is an ox. And I haven't told you this part yet, but we'll probably get to it of the last 4 years of my life. Well, I've been in my house for 4 years. But in one of my visions in heaven, I was taken to the side of the living creatures that was an ox. And just said, just look at this ox. And I didn't understand it, but I understand it now. It's the strength of God, God's strength in you that makes us so strong to be able to walk away from acting, to be able to stand up for righteousness, to be able to, become transformed into a new person.
We said never do a podcast on Thursdays. You do the trash outside.
It's not the trash. I'm like, your dog's barking, Bob. I
Well,
mean, this is a podcast, but
barking at the trash, but yeah.
What do you find the most beauty in, aside from your grandkids and your children and God? We know that because you
I
are
find the most beauty in.
Mm-hmm. She's tearing up right now. It's like so sweet. That's why I ask you this, because you seem to find the beauty in everything, but really, right now, and we're not going to get into all of what's going on in the world, but there's so many people suffering. People are divided. There's no unity. There's a lot of, pain, right, going on. And if we can give somebody who's listening just a glimpse of, where they can go to find, whether it's going outside and seeing a flower or whatever it is, there's always beauty out there. And currently,
Cory, honestly, I would have a different answer for you. But honestly, I think beauty comes in the eye of the beholder. And the eye of the beholder has to change the perspective. Because it's hard when you're in fear. And it's hard when, we see life around us changing so drastically. It's hard for us to change our perspective and to try to see beauty in everything. So the eye of the beholder has to change from the one that made our eyes, our spiritual eyes. And I don't mean to sound like that. I honestly...
That's exactly right, though.
Don't, but yeah, it's something that, it's like to really close your eyes, close your carnal eyes, your eyes that feel and see in this realm and this earth, and to be able to see God and to have your spiritual eyes open to see heaven's perspective is the actual changing of the eye of the beholder, so that safety in you, that life in heaven is more real than the life here, that there's beauty in everything.
When I was younger, I was raised in a Christian home. My grandparents were Catholic. On my dad's side, my mom was Christian. I was raised in a Christian home, and I didn't understand God then. I believed in him. I did. I went to church. I didn't understand. And when Ariana was around 5 years old, this really happened. She was laying next to me. She was sleeping. And I was literally crying out to God. And I said, God, please. I was going through a difficult time. Right? And I reached my hand up and I was saying, God, please, just if you are real, and I knew he was, I felt he was, I believed in him, but just touch my hand. Please, just touch my hand. And Ariana, her hand reaches up, no joke, And it doesn't just go up in the air. She's completely asleep, and it grabs on like this. And I just had that moment of like, okay, I know why you used her. Because if you would have touched mine, I probably would have thought, oh, that was the air conditioning, or made up some, excuse in my head.
Though.
But it was actually he used her. And it was a moment of, I get it. And, I'd gone through my whole life of hearing pastors and pastors and people saying, I heard God. I heard him speak to me. And I was like, God, I want to hear you. I want to hear you. Right? Like, please talk to me. Why aren't you talking to me? And he always was. I just wasn't listening.
Yeah. I didn't recognize it. Yeah.
I didn't equate the two, right? Now I kind of hear him loud and clear. Sometimes I still make, mistakes and go my own way. But I usually end up feeling the pain of that decision.
We all do.
Right? And so that's why I love, and I'm going back to your book, Conversations Between a Girl and Her God, because it is really a conversation. Just like you're having conversations with your grandchildren now, right? It's a conversation. And at what point in your life, other than on that movie set, because you really spend a lot of time with God, you really cultivate that relationship.
You have to. You have to. It's, you certainly wouldn't be married and not spend time with your husband. And you certainly wouldn't be married and not spend intimate time with your husband. So giving yourself fully to him, there's no relationship if you don't, So it's the same with God. There's an intimacy with him, of getting alone with him and pouring your heart out to him, from the depths of your being, where you lose yourself and you're free with him.
It says, draw near to me and I will draw near to you. Right?
But I found, Cory, between a carnal meaning our intellect, our understanding, our vision, our carnal mind, that is, we live in. But to worship him, like I always tell people, find worship like you would if you had a guy that you liked, or, that is your heart to him. That is, this is my song to this person. This is exactly how I feel. You find those songs, you put them together, you shut the doors, get in a place that you're alone, you're not going to be disturbed, and play those songs. And get before him and sing with all your heart and your mind, your soul, and your strength. And you lose yourself. It's like acting. Preparation, right?
Yeah.
When you're an actor, you don't just go on the stage, because if you did, you're going to be in your head. And it's going to be the worst experience of your entire life. You're going to be crying to get off that stage. Well, so what do? You go into preparation. You get alone and you either put music on, or you think on things that are in the circumstances that you're about to live emotionally. And then you step out there and you have an emotional life, right? And you lose yourself in the scene. You put your focus on the other person. You lose yourself in the scene, and there are no cameras and there are no people, and you are in that moment where when you come out, they say cut, or, the play is over. You go, oh, excuse me, I'm so embarrassed.
Still rolling.
You were there. Oh, you saw all that. Oh, okay. You almost feel naked.
Yeah.
Right?
Vulnerable.
Right? Vulnerable. Right? Especially if you can lose yourself. That's an actor. People don't understand that are not actors. But having come from acting, I knew how to get with the Lord. I knew how to lose myself in him. I didn't go into preparation, but I knew how to put on the worship music. I knew how to give him all of me and let go of this carnal mind and just see Jesus. and just worship at his feet or worship in his arms. Well, one day, Jesus did like this. Come. And I was in vision. I didn't make that happen. I didn't imagine it in my imagination because it would be conjuring, but worshiping him with all of my heart and letting myself go where no one's watching me. There's, freedom, utter freedom. And all of a sudden he says, come. And he starts showing you stuff. And he starts teaching you and showing you the kingdom, showing you heaven, showing you revelation into the Word of God. And all of a sudden you're like, oh my, I'm in the Spirit. I'm lost in the Spirit. And I'm here in heaven, in heavenly places where Father says, I would that those would come to me would worship me in spirit and in truth. And so you empty yourself of your understanding, man's understanding, and enter into God's understanding, God's creative realm. And it's like, this is what's happened to me like in the last 4 years. I've lived in this place, Cory. And I've just written another book, it will be coming out. It's ready to go to print probably in about 2 weeks.
I didn't get that copy. Which, by the way, just a side note, Todd and Colton Burpo wrote a book called Heaven is for Real, based on his, I know there's a lot of controversy either way on it. I read the book, I saw the movie.
I loved it.
I read the book to Ariana.
Yeah. How can you argue with that?
You can't.
You
he
can't.
was 5 years
you have
old
to be
when he took a trip
hard-hearted
to heaven.
You have to be, I'm just, okay, go sit down.
Yeah, I mean, and if you read the book and you watch the movie, you'll see how it unfolds over a 2-year period of this child's life, having had an emergency appendectomy and taking a trip to heaven.
And especially the parents that were pastors, and they didn't even believe their own son, and they were pastors.
Yeah, I think it wasn't until he's in the car or something, and he says, "Oh, Uncle so-and-so," and she's like, "Wait a minute, you never saw Uncle so-and-so's picture. He passed away before you even knew, right?"
Or the baby,
like, well,
his little sister
in heaven, right? And so these conversations that you're having and entering into heaven is a real thing for you and many people, But like you said, and I kind of liken this with my child. If she went off to college, we all know I'm, still trying not to hover over her. But if I didn't talk to her anymore, our relationship would, right? And so
dissipate.
Right. And maintaining that relationship means communication. So that's how I personally, even with my walk with God, and I'm still learning, I'm still, trusting, and it doesn't mean you don't go through pain and hard times.
No, and go through attacks, and
right.
I'm raising 2 grandchildren. I'm 60 years old, and I've got a 2-year-old. I'm like, what are you doing here? Why are you here?
Yeah, but I've been to your house. It's really fun at your house.
But I'm exhausted. I'm a 6-year-old now and a 2-year-old. I'm like, I asked them the other day, who are you? How did you get here? But I literally saw, of course, I'm my grandchildren, and I saw in one of my experiences praying, I saw ministering. I have to share this with you, Cory.
Yeah, tell me. I want to know.
Okay, first let me just finish that. I saw one of the ministering angels come walking up to me with a bundle in her hands, and she did like this, and she went, and I went, oh no, I know exactly what that means. Oh no, you're telling me that you don't want to let this baby go because it might get hurt, so you want me to take care of it, and I don't want to do that. I'm just being transparent.
It's a big something to undertake. It's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. I've already got, his sister that's, what now, it was 4. I had her for a year, and she's an angel. She's easy, but he's not. But he's all boy.
That must be
he runs in circles just to get out of breath. I'm like, what is that? What are you doing? I had all girls. Is that the testosterone that's in you? Because I'm not understanding that. But anyway, he's actually very cute, but a lot of work. But my point is that, yes, it was within 7 months, little 7 was brought to my house by CPS. And he became, mine. I've had him now for 13 months, and probably the end of the summer, I'll be adopting him and raising him. And when I'm 80, I'll be done.
You are so cute. Well, we're never done. Even if that child was, we're never done.
Not
never
done, but at least okay, I can breathe now.
Yes.
I get to rest.
Yes.
It's a lot of work
It
to
is
raise
a lot
children.
of work. I literally have a grandpuppy.
Yeah.
And when that puppy's dropped off for 4 or 5 days, I'm like, oh, I love being with my grandpuppy.
Yeah.
Love that grandpuppy. She's very well behaved. My daughter has done a fine job with this puppy.
Uh-huh.
But, it is exhausting. And so, I'm not likening children to puppies, but, when you get older, you're in your years of just having 4 or 5 days, and then you send your grandkids off, right? And they get to go home and you get to spoil them. So,
yeah. Well, 4 or 5 hours.
yes, probably. Well, I commend you for doing that, and you love these children, and you're teaching them.
I love them.
The Bible says, "Teach your children the ways of the Lord when they're young, and they won't get. They won't depart from it."
I say, Father, I'm not doing this in vain. You must be a father to them. I pray over my little grandson and granddaughter that the eyes of their understanding will be opened. They'll be raised as a prophet of God with the fear of the Lord bound to their heads, that they would see, know, comprehend, hear him fully as a son of God on earth as it is in heaven. I'm like, we're going all the way, Father.
Okay.
I'm not. We're going all the way. Mm-hmm. But what I wanted to share with you, that is like, Cory, this is one of the things that it's a simple, profound truth that when I was worshiping, and this is what happened to me, okay? Mm-hmm. This is one of my experiences. So I'm worshiping the Lord, and suddenly, in vision, I find myself in heavenly places. I find myself on green grass. And I'm like, yes, 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 just jumping around, yes, yes. And I look, and there are about 4 women on the ground, on the grass, lounging, just sitting, just lounging back like this, looking up at me. And they said to me, "What are you so excited about, little wonder?" And I said, I'm here, yes, yes, I'm here. I was just so excited. And then I stopped, and I looked at them circling me. They were sitting in a circle around me. And I said, "Who are you?" And they said, this one said to me, "We're ministering angels. And just as a bride has a bridal party, so we prepare the bride for the groom." Honestly, Cory, I was deep in prayer, and I went, what? What? I was like, of course you do. Of course you are. How did I not know that? How did I not know that ministering angels were a bridal party that prepared us to become the bride of Christ for the groom? I was like, that is simply profound truth. Like,
Universally, in general.
Taken aback. Just taken aback. I was like, okay, it took me a while to get over that one. I was like, seriously? But Cory, this is what's been happening. I literally, for 4 years, go into prayer, deep worship, see something. I have literally, Cory, been taken from paradise, which is the second heaven, which is the 3 heavens as they truly are. That's the book that's getting ready to come out, and maybe we'll come and talk about that in another time. But I was literally taken in paradise, through paradise, first through Jesus, because there is no access into heaven but through Jesus Christ. There's no doorway to be saved. But once you get to heaven, once you're in heavenly places, anywhere you go to a new place in heaven, like it's a progression, like the tabernacle, from the outer court to the holy place to the Holy of Holies. Just like God told Moses on the mount to make the tabernacle according to the pattern I've shown you in the heavens. Well, there are many places in heaven. There's the mountain of the north. You never hear about it in church. It's the most holy place. It's a place where the Holy Spirit is. It's where the treasures of God are. It's where the gemstones are.
Which Colton Burpo talks about, colors that don't even exist here. And he spells them, and we don't even, they're not in the rainbow. Right?
Right. Yeah. It's because we're covered. The bride, the bridal garment, the wedding gown of the bride are covered in gemstones. And in the city of God, there's a city of God in heaven. It's not like you just go to heaven and everybody's there. No. The thief went to paradise. Remember, you will be with me in paradise. Yes. Paul said, I know a man, whether in the body, out of the body, went to paradise. I know a man, whether in the body, out of the body, went to the third heaven. So heaven is stretched out and it goes up. It is a rising up, 3 levels. We see it depicted in Solomon's temple with 3 stories high and stretched out as a temple. So in heaven, it's the same thing, only it's a temple of God. The outer court does not exist in heaven. It just doesn't. And it says that in Hebrews. But there is the temple of God, the sanctuary, which is the holy place and the Holy of Holies. Anyway, so there's many places in heaven. And the gemstones is literally the garments, the adornment of the bride. That's why you don't go into the city of God without your wedding garments. But Cory, what the church has to come back to a shifting of a holiness of God. We're not going to be able to continue. We've been in we've gone through dispensations of times. We're not going to be able to remain in this dispensation. We went from removing a religious spirit off of us, of our own strength, the golden calf, worshiping our own abilities and our own strength, to literally being free from that, a religious spirit, to now coming into the holiness of God, God's strength. But the holiness of God, once again, where we're adorned. You cannot be adorned as a bride in filth. It can't happen. It doesn't happen. One must be cleansed, even if you're born again. Even if you're born again. That's why the temple is separated. That's why Jesus, it's like when we hear in the New Testament him talking about, let's just say, for instance, the 10 virgins, right? We have 10 virgins. These are separated ones. They're all born again, Cory. They're separated unto him, but only 5 are burning for the Lord. Only 5 have oil.
By the way, anyone listening that is, a lot of people say, well, who are you to say this, or who are you to say that? You have studied the Bible back and front and forth. You've spent time with God.
I've been a Christian for 30 years and not
you're not legalistic. You are just simply living and walking with God and speaking of his scripture, his book, his word, right? It's not our word, it's his word.
I study the Bible, anywhere from 8 to, normally I would say average 4 hours a day. But, and pray. And I pray every day. Unless I'm not feeling well, then I'm like, oh, Father, whatever. But, which is not very often. But, no, I'm not telling you anything I've learned from man either. Right. I have not learned any of this from man. I've learned this from heaven, from Father, and I've learned this from the scripture. Because Father will take me through this journey and teach me, like he took me to the mountain of the north. I had no idea. Do you ever hear about the mountain of the north?
Well, not today was the first day.
I've never heard about the mountain of the north.
I'm going on this journey with you, Teri.
Yeah. I go through,
And I've been in prayer with you a lot of times, so I know what that's like.
I've been to the throne room. We hear about the throne room, right? The throne room of God. You go past the throne room and you go
It's like Tomb Raider.
Yes.
You're opening up a door. And then you get to see a whole other thing, and then you see this other little thing, and you open up that door.
Yeah. And it's like God hides them in midst in a cloud.
Wow.
It's literally like uncovering, but he leads you in there. It's been astonishing, but I've learned that one of the most beautiful things I've learned is that the gemstones, the stones of fire. Do you remember in Ezekiel 28, where it talks about Satan, how he was the angel that covered, and how he was covered, and he was in the garden, and he was covered with every gemstone? Well, that's heaven. The bride, with her bridal garments, are covered in gemstones. And it is a glory covering. We're not wearing bridal gown like we wear here. That's a symbolic, figurative, like darkened shadow of it. We're wearing glory. So in other words, you have a body just like you have, but when I look at you in heaven, it's as if you have 7 layers of skin, right? It's as if your glory has layers and layers of see-through glory upon you. And within those layers, I can see the scars that you wear for persecutions you endure. They're glory to you in heaven. You literally wear them on your glory on one of your layers. You do. Jesus had the scars. We suffer for persecution, I know. And we wear those scars. I saw the cloud of witnesses with all those scars. I was like, what is that? And some had many and some had few. And the angel that was there with me said, these are the scars that they endured on earth through persecutions. And the ones that have few, they wish they had more. They know they have fewer because they defended themselves. I was like, oh, whoa. Well, so we have a layer of scars.
You're taking me down, Teri.
That are
You're taking me down.
Right? It's true. I've learned all this in heaven.
Listen, I wouldn't be having this visceral reaction if it wasn't.
And if you didn't
Does that
know
make
me.
sense? Like,
right?
even so, like, that sounds and that feels about right. Right? And so I get it. I get it.
And the glory and the gemstones, the bridal garments, because we are purified by fire. So that fire is within us, this light of the glory of the Lord within us. Well, what happens, Cory, when you have light and you have gemstones on you?
Shine.
It radiates out and it makes a rainbow over you. That is the covenant.
God's covenant. Yeah.
The covenant of Jesus Christ. When I came to the city of God, I was not able to go in there for a very long time. I only could peek through these long, narrow windows because it's much like Israel. The heavens are made. Israel is a type and shadow of the heavens. So is the tabernacle. And so when you go into the promised land, right, into paradise, so to speak, the children of Israel cross the river. And then what do they see? The city of God, which is walled around. Well, that is the glory, God's glory throne in the city of God. And when I got in there, Father said to me, everything here has been given to the Son. And Father has a rainbow over his head. Jesus has a rainbow over. Everybody's covered in gemstones. That is the glory. Now, Father says to me, gemstones are costly. You don't just get to be adorned. It's a price. And that price is your life laid down before the Lord as a living sacrifice. And you come out of the system of the world, and the desires of the world dissipate as you near to God and you lay your life down before him, and you start to become adorned in glory. to where the last stage is you are the adorned bride. It's just so simple. And Cory, I'm telling you, with that one simple understanding is such a foundational truth that when you hear Peter say, and I think it's Peter 4:6, that you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a royal adorned as the high priest with gemstones, a royal generation, a peculiar people. He's not kidding. Because they're so innocent there and so transparent there and so pure there that it's literally like being with like,
It's childlike faith.
It's childlike. It's
childlike
innocent. And they're and can I tell you one more thing I learned there? You're going to love this, Cory, because I know you. What I learned there is that, because we are encompassed around by so great a cloud of witnesses, right? These cloud of witnesses are those saints that have gone before us. Okay. Stay with me for 1 second. In Revelation 19 and Revelation 22, Paul the Apostle says that he went through, he saw all of Revelation, right? He was taken by an angel and he was shown all of Revelation, right? So he sees the angel and he wants to get down and worship him. And the angel says, do not do that. He says, because I am one of your brethren, one of the prophets that have gone before you. So this is not an angel, a different created being, because angels and man we're different created beings. God did not create us exactly the same way. This is that the person that showed John the Apostle, the heavens, the Revelation, is a saint that had gone before him, a prophet. A brother, one who keeps the sayings of this book, right? So it's not necromancy. Okay, it's not necromancing or anything like that. This is God's. That's spiritism that belongs to the devil, that the devil perverted to lead God's people, God's children that are eyes wide open in the spirit astray. But the pure and the true is that there's so great a cloud of witnesses, right? So,
to your point, and I know we have like this, I could go on for like 5 hours with you, but it's like an hour show, right? But to your point, and you were there for my 40th birthday party. It was a surprise party that Ariana had thrown, which she'd thrown me like 3 over my lifetime. I think you were at 2 of them.
Yeah.
And there were people that didn't know each other that showed up. And, I got 5 scarves for my 40th birthday party, and every single one of them were the color purple.
Yeah, isn't that
bright
funny?
Purple? Yes, but it wasn't. It was completely goth. Yeah, that's the color of royalty. And I didn't even put it together until I got home that night, and I was like, "Wait, how did I even possibly get 5 scarves from 5 different people? They didn't even have each other's phone number."
Yeah. Isn't that beautiful?
It was amazing, but he'll show us on earth, these little golden nuggets too.
These signs. But in heaven, Cory, every single person, cloud of witness that I have met, that Father has used to show me something, if you were to ask me, what do they look like? I couldn't tell you. Yeah. But what I can tell you, Cory, I can tell you their character. I can tell you their character. I can tell you what their character is. Oh, you are meek and you are kind. Your strength, great strength. Oh, you're so strong. And they have different characters. And in heaven, we will be as we are, but we will be formed according to our character on earth, who we are, who we have grown into on earth. Not only that, but our stature is greatly dependent on did we teach righteousness?
Yeah.
The Bible says that those that teach righteousness will be called least, will be called great in the kingdom, and those who did not will be called least. This is stature. This is height, tall or shorter.
Mm.
So it's interesting that we have a similar kind of, how we're formed here, what we're taught to judge people by their character. In heaven, it is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I thought you'd like that because I know that you
Well, yeah,
love
no, I
people
mean,
by their character.
I do. I mean, I love people even if they're not so good. I get that. It says, "Whatever you do not do for the least of me, you do not do for me."
Yeah.
And so we're all broken in some way, and if we can see others through God's eyes, even in their brokenness, then we have clearer vision as to how God sees us all. Right? He loves us all.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
I want to say this just because James Robertson, the president of Life Outreach International, is quoted as saying that God reached into the pit of despair and lifted Teri up and established her feet on solid rock of his love, grace, and truth. And you really are just love, grace, and truth, and an amazing woman of God and friend and mother and grandmother, and you're just doing it all. And somehow you have this fountain of youth that you look like you're in your 30s. I don't know. And maybe it's all the prayer, but you've certainly today, I know that I need to spend more time with God. That's my takeaway. And it doesn't mean I don't spend time. I spend a lot of time, but I really do probably need to spend more with God. And so I thank you for coming today. I can't thank you enough. And we're not wrapping up just yet because we have these 3 things that we usually do. I don't know if you've seen our show to the end. This is the Rorschach test, which is okay. I'm going to do that. Yes, you're right, Bob. You're right, Bob. You're right, Bob.
If I had a nickel.
Bob, you're genius.
You sound like my mother.
You guys are funny. I watch YouTube for, like Bitcoin. Did you invest in Bitcoin?
Right. No, I had a financial analyst on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And they always have the producer is talking off camera.
Yeah. He's like my Charlie to the Angels. Remember Charlie's Angels? You never saw his face, but you.
That's kind of a compliment to me and to you because you're calling yourself one of Charlie's Angels. But
well, actually, I tried out for that movie. I did.
The movie or the TV show?
The movie. Hello. The movie. I tried the movie, but I did not get it, obviously. So, well, that's okay. You would have been a great Charlie's Angel for sure. Okay, so I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Okay. Okay.
Well, 2 questions on a Rorschach test. How would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Oh, innocent.
Mm.
Although I'm not necessarily innocent, but
yes, you are.
Have an innocent nature that Father's gifted me with. Transparent, to a fault. And strong.
Those are 3 good words. I could go on with the words for you because I just love you. I do. Now we're going to do the Rorschach test.
20 times. You still can't pronounce it.
So I am going to feel like you do because I always feel like, wow, these are so demonic, these pictures. But let's just see what you think because,
First, don't put it in their head. They're
but
not
what
demonic.
do I do?
Because I know
This is my first reaction.
No, your
Rorschach
first
test,
reaction.
They're ink blots, so whatever you see in the ink blot, tell us what you see. So looking at a cloud.
Oh, okay,
So
great.
whatever you
Okay. Oh, I see 2 people. I see 2 angels talking to each other.
I have to connect her with Andrew and Kyra Carter.
Yeah.
Oh, I see 2 people talking to Jesus inside. Right? Don't you see them? The angel people, and there's Jesus inside. Do you see that?
From this angle, I see 2 elephants. Isn't that funny? Do you see the little elephants?
Talking to Jesus.
Teri, I love you.
Well, I don't know who those people are. They're, are they sumo wrestlers?
Oh my God, I love her. You're
It's
so
an ink
cute.
blot. They're not people. It's just whatever, however.
They're going like this.
Yeah.
We're going to fight. I don't like that one.
I don't either.
What do you? I know.
But hold
but
on a second. One second. I don't like this one either. And I always say, I don't like this.
But
I
the
don't
question
like
is
this either.
why?
Well, because I see
It's just.
a devil with a crown on his
Oh,
head.
wow. Yikes. Well, no, we don't eat this.
You know, I saw the devil.
Oh, gosh.
I saw him.
Oh, wow.
I know what he looks like.
Ooh,
I studied him. Father let me do that.
Ooh. Okay, we got to hear about that. This looks like a fox to me from my angle.
It looks like, it looks like one of those demon gods, like those,
What is it?
the African face.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Oh, the African mask, the tribal mask.
Yeah.
Tribal mask.
The tribal mask.
Okay, well, I agree with you on all of those. Yeah, you can.
It's
Yeah,
an
we will.
ink blot. It's first of all, there's
no,
nothing
no.
wrong with the image. It's what you see in it.
Yes, I know, but for the sake of purposes, this looks like a tribal mask.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've
It
had
looks
people
like
say
a
it's
tribal
clown.
mask.
We've had people say, it's the way the image forms and it's what you see.
I think we're going to have to get rid of this game. I don't like this game. I know. So, but what I do want to ask you, because everybody has a celebrity crush, who is yours?
No.
You don't have one.
I used to have one.
Oh.
Past or present?
Mine was Mel Gibson from The Bounty. I'm
Okay,
just
let
saying.
me have,
I'm just saying.
let me have a celebrity crush of someone I've never met.
Someone you've never met. Who would I?
Have you met Mel Gibson?
I have not met him,
Not
but
you.
I've
I'm
been
sorry,
in.
Corey, your
This-
crushes.
No, but when I was younger, I went to see that movie, The Bounty, with my dad, and it was such a good movie. And he was like just really young, and
Yeah.
And another one of mine who I have met was, and when I say crushed, I'm not saying like you're sitting there, it's like an infatuation. It's just you have admired them in their career along the way, I'm sure, is Warren Beatty from the movie.
Heaven Can Wait.
No, actually, the movie with
Dick Tracy.
No,
Oh,
and not An Affair to Remember. It was the movie with Natalie Wood. What was the movie called? Why am I blanking on this movie?
with Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood and Warren Beatty. I know. Bob's
I
going.
only know
He's
Natalie Wood
rubbing
from
his
West Side
head.
Story.
It was a huge. I'm totally blanking, but I actually got to meet him years later, and
Yeah.
and he was
My friend Sheila Khan dated him for a while.
Oh, okay. All right.
I know a few things.
Sheila. Oh, Terry. All right. So you don't have a celebrity crush. Well,
If I did, if I had a celebrity crush, it would probably be Ryan Gosling from The Notebook.
Ryan
Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling.
By the way, was it Splendor in the Grass?
Yes. Splendor in the Grass, Warren Beatty and Natalie Wood. One of my favorite movies. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, I don't
She
think I saw
loves
that
him
one.
so much, and he breaks her heart. Probably why I like it so much. I identify. That's
Warren.
okay. But Ryan Gosling from The Notebook.
I like him in The Notebook. I don't know about his person, but I just loved him in The
That
Notebook.
character, yes, and I think that's fair enough because
Mhm.
I think 99.9% of the world would agree with you.
Yeah. There's just something about him.
Well, I think that love, knowing that it existed,
He loved
even if
her
on the
so much.
screen, I think
Mhm.
that's what it is that he loved her so much.
Mhm.
And I think if you are a woman, you want that man to drive up with or come on his horse and carriage with your other shoe,
Mhm.
right? But God seems to fill that void.
Yeah, finally,
does.
Corey, because I was like, I need to find that love, Corey. And Corey would say, I'm married to Jesus. And I would be like, oh, please. Corey, I know that you're married to Jesus. We're married to Jesus, but God wants us to have somebody on the earth, Corey. And I was like, Cory. And now I'm like right there with you, girl.
I'm just saying.
I'm like, oh dear, I don't know that will ever at this point be a part of my life, because my desires now are so much so to just give myself fully, like a nun almost, to him, that I don't know how I could take care of a man.
Well, you won't have to. The right one will come along and want to take care of you, and you will carry each other, in the words of my very dear friend Mike San Pedro says. And I don't know what that looks like either, but I know that it could possibly exist. Just keep your heart and your mind open, because Teri, you're pretty special.
Yeah, I've never known that, right, Cory? So maybe that is the problem.
I know.
I only had it once for a fleeting moment when I was very young and foolish.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pray for that for you, because you are deserving of it. And I love you very much. And I can't thank you enough for coming by today and sharing those golden nuggets, as I say.
Yeah.
I will look forward to your new book coming out. I don't know if you're willing to give us the title.
It's called The Three Heavens as They Truly Are.
Okay.
And it literally, Cory, we have been taught we've been taught the devil's in the second heaven. It's an abomination.
Okay.
He's not in the second heaven. We've given him the holy place. He's not there. He's in the first heaven. So we've literally put him in the place of the garden again, where he got kicked out, as a covering over us. So no wonder we have so many problems on earth. He's not in the second heaven. So it's just a clarification that I've been taught through my journey in heaven of exactly the heavens, how they're formed, what their structure is, and what their purpose is. Who's in them and who's not in them.
Well, when does that book come out?
Probably April.
Okay. And you can get Teri's current book, Conversations Between a Girl and Her God, on Amazon, actually.
On Amazon.
Checked that out. And so we'll just have you back when you have released that book. And
Yeah.
yes, Teri, how can we stay connected with you?
Okay. So I have a YouTube channel where I share all my adventures
Yes,
and
I've
my
seen them.
understanding
I love
in
them.
heaven, about heaven, and the things that God has been teaching me, Father. And so you can find that just by simply going to Teri Copley on YouTube, TeriCopley. And there's a big round picture of me. My granddaughter says, Cece, you must have taken that when you were much younger.
Don't you? Out of the mouths of babes.
And I say to her, Sky, that was only a couple of years ago, sweetie.
That is so children.
Yeah.
They'll keep it real.
Oh. But anyway, so you can find
cute.
me there. And if you just click on that, you'll see. I now started putting that picture just because people like to identify with a face. I didn't want to at first, but yeah. And if they can subscribe, because, I started about 8 months ago.
Yeah, I've been following them on YouTube too, because you'll give little snippets of, not YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah.
Little snippets of it on your Instagram too, which is Teri Copley.
Yeah. I finally got some media people, marketing, just for the book, because I don't have a publisher, because unless you're somebody, you are nobody.
You are somebody.
And they don't even answer the phone or want to hear from you. It's like, no.
I know.
But it's okay. God, God does what he does.
He can do it overnight, by the way.
Yeah. And so,
I've seen it.
yeah. So I did hire marketing people that are very good. I think they're doing a pretty good job helping me.
Bob's pretty good at that too. So. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I love you. I thank you. It's so good to see you out and about.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for having me on your show. Your show is so cute too.
thank you.
It's so Coryism.
I know. If you can't be real and just, poke fun at yourself, then
Right?
right. And
That's what I tell people, even about ministering, because I have friends that say, Teri, you've got to do it this way. You've got to look straight in the camera. You've got to be poised. And I'm like, if I don't give them me, just raw, like
Can I just
a
say you just got to
person,
be real?
what else do I have?
Yeah, you just got to be real.
Mhm.
Well, you are real, and you are real, sweet, kind, loving, and I love you. So thank you for coming out on this rainy day.
I know.
And we're out.
Hi guys, I'm Cory Oliver, and thank you for watching The Coriolis Effect. We hope you enjoyed the previous episode. Here are some more episodes you might enjoy. Hit the subscribe button below and have a great day.